guys, and welcome back to another episode of Change Wired podcast. My name is Angela Shurina. I'm your host. I'm your partner in personal and collective transformation, your guide on the path towards unlocking and using more of your potential, and just someone who believes that in each of us, there is a lot of potential that we are yet to discover, tap into, and use to transform our ordinary existence into extraordinary lives. Today, guys, I'm gonna share with you a 5-step framework that is based on research in high performance psychology or high performance training. And I'm gonna share it through the lens of Matt Bromley's story. Matt Bromley, I attended his talk a couple of days ago here in Cape Town at a business networking event. And Matt Bromley is a big wave surfer, someone who is, I guess you might say, if you're in the world of surfing, famous, someone who rides some of the biggest waves in the biggest storms all around the world. And yes, he's originally here from South Africa, where he has his family and spends majority of his time. And so to be able to ride those waves time after time after time without dying, Matt had to master a specific framework that allows him to do his best to perform really at a high level, and that allows him to not die in the situations where stakes are super high and you can literally die at any moment. So this podcast episode is about sharing with you 5-step or 5-pillar framework that Matt uses to do his best in the ocean, and that also a lot of high performers that I learned about, interviewed, talked to, that I read about, some really famous people who perform consistently at a higher level. So they all use a combination of these steps. Sometimes they're more aware of this, like Matt, and sometimes they're not that aware of it. But for you, the outcome is now when you're going to prepare for the next high stakes situation, or the situation where you need to perform, if not at your highest level, then at least optimal level, and definitely trying to do your absolute best you're capable of, instead of, because of the pressure, anxiety, or stress, or this like internal feeling that is so hard to manage in those situations, not doing your best, not showing up with your full capability, and because of that, sort of shooting yourself in the foot and not seizing the opportunities that could transform your life at this stage into like the next level and extraordinary experience that's going to blow your mind. So 5-step framework is what you're going to learn about today. And then what you can do or make notes, and the next time that you need to prepare for that high stakes situation, whether that's an important presentation or public speaking or performing some physical skill. So you have a toolkit that will allow you, again, if not do your absolute best, then definitely a lot better, helping you to open up and tap into as much potential as possible. So Matt's story, again, Matt Bromley is a big wave surfer, and he's been doing it for quite a while. And you can look him up, Matt Bromley, and you'll easily find him online. And he was presenting his framework for performing really well at these high stakes situations where you can literally die every minute. And a lot of people absolutely loved his story and thought about how they can apply like this mindset of what Matt calls or frames as storm rider, right? Embracing the challenge, embracing what seems difficult ahead. And instead of shrinking and wanting to for this experience to be over as soon as possible, and definitely not showing up with your full capacity and potential, instead of that, how to open up, embrace the challenge, and do his best. So while people really loved his story, everyone loved his story, I listened in and made a lot of notes. And by the way, we're going to have Matt Bromley on our podcast sometime soon. I really listened into his framework that he presented on how he gets to do his best so consistently. And without further ado, let me introduce to the framework. So, step number one, preparation. Matt talked a lot about preparation. Before, you can get out there and ride the biggest waves in the world, you definitely need to have some skills dialed in. And yes, it comes from actual surfing in the ocean. But even before that, if you really want to dial in all the smaller skills, all the sub skills, even things like, holding your breath, which doesn't necessarily seem like the number one skill for you to ride those waves, but there are riding those big waves. It's not just about riding the wave. It's also just staying alive, and holding your breath allows you, when the water overtakes you, that happens all the time in the surfing world when people try to ride those huge, 10-story building kind of waves. So holding your breath allows you to survive and to be alive when the water runs over you and takes you into the ocean. So those minutes really matter, right? And when we think about high performance, it's not just about performing in this situation that we need to embrace, whether that's presentation or some more speaking again publicly. Those are the things that I usually have to do in my work all of the time. It's not just about speaking. It's not just about presenting. It's also about those smaller sub skills that allow that bigger skill set to be used optimally. And we also going to talk about some of those biological sub skills that Matt uses, and we all need to learn to some degree to perform really well in challenging situations. So preparation, right? You repeat and repeat and repeat until the skills that you need to use in this stressful, challenging situation becomes automatic, that you do them without thinking. So that preparation really matters, especially at a high level with high stakes situation, especially if it's life threatening. So preparation, learning those sub skills in the pool and in different environments, which allow you to safely fail a lot and just put in the reps. The second thing is simulating the challenge. Training not just in the pool and not just in sort of safer environments, but also as much as possible, getting yourself out there, getting yourself in the ocean, getting yourself on stage, getting yourself to present in front of people, right? Recording yourself in front of the camera and really knowing your content for speaking, for example. It's great preparation, but what's even better is actually often getting out there and speaking in front of people as often as possible. So simulating the challenge, that's why, top stand-up comedians also, before they get to present the routine that grabs people on bigger stages, all the time they keep showing up in smaller clubs, testing stuff out, but still like in front of the public in very similar environments. So they get to the point where the environment feels like home ground, and it doesn't make them more anxious, or at least not as anxious, so it doesn't feel foreign or threatening, but instead it feels again like home ground. It feels like familiar space, which decreases your stress responses, which allows you in the same sort of high stakes situation to keep your brain online instead of overwhelmed and anxious, and focus on delivering the best that you can. So simulating the challenge that you need to take on in many possible forms. Another high performance technique that every single high performer who does great things consistently uses. So number one is preparations and learning the skills and sub-skills in not necessarily simulating the challenge, but more in a safer environment till automaticity. And then the second one is simulating the challenge, getting out there and actually performing whatever you need to do in the situation which is as close to where you need to perform as possible. The third one is things like breathwork and visualization. The basic idea here is before you can deliver anything cognitively, before you can try to control your mind and your emotions, your focus in the high stakes situations, you need to be able to control your biology. Biology drives your emotions and mindsets and things like anxiety and worries. How your body feels will define to a large degree how your mind goes. And so if you don't learn how to control your biology through things like breath work, visualization, different other tools, like, for example, conditioning your body and brain for stress, so stress doesn't feel that stressful, like cold exposure, for example, is very, very helpful for that. Or high intensity interval training also familiarizes your body with the state of stress without feeling like it's threatening and overwhelming your thinking, your emotions, to the point that you can't really perform well, right? So controlling your biology through tools like breath work, which Matt also emphasized and is uses regularly, right? He explained, like, when you're on that wave, you really need to be present in the moment, not in the future, not in the state of panic. You need to still have your brain online, thinking through the situation, through every turn, so you literally don't die. And breath work allows you, as one of the tools, and also exposing yourself to different stressors and still trying to think and do your best and calm down, when your body is in the stress situation, but you can keep your mind still, using your breath work, one of the tools that allows you to switch your nervous system from stress and fight or flight to rest and digest by, for example, controlling your breath rate and focusing on exhales. That is a very powerful tool that, again, allows your brain to stay online and thinking instead of reacting on autopilot like a scared animal. Like tools, again, right, like breathwork and other tools that allow you to work with your physiology help you to do so. So then when you are on stage and you're feeling quite agitated, you don't panic and don't screw up your performance, completely forgetting what you are going to say or just not doing your best or as best as you could. Like, those tools, again, are very helpful. And when you learn how to use them in all possible scenarios, like, for example, when I'm on stage and I forget a line, or something breaks, I don't like, and my presentation doesn't work, and my mic stops working, or somebody interrupts me, etc., or something happens. Breathwork is what I use right there on stage. I'm like, okay, let me take a deep breath. And I usually, do it somewhat not that noticeable, quietly. Sometimes I even teach it people right from the stage and tell people, yeah, this is what's happening, this is what I'm using, and here is why. That allows me to get back on track and continue. And maybe not continue from the same start, but not being stuck without words as well. So breathwork, again, and controlling your biology is what allows you to go from controlled by your state to in control of your state. The fourth one is map the terrain. And what that's all about is, before my first big public speaking event, someone gave me a simple tip. Go and walk the stage, check the mic, talk to the media team, look at the screens, the lighting, know what you're walking into before you walk into. I talked to a few car racers here in Cape Town. Car racing is actually kind of big here. And they told me how they need to walk the track, feel the road, smell the dirt almost before they ride it. And they swear by it, like they're successes. your brain makes a lot better decisions, guys, when the environment is not a surprise. And very often it's very unconscious. You don't think about that your brain uses this information to make better decisions, but your brain does. And once you also notice that it really helps you, then you notice it even more and your brain pays even more attention. In terms of Matt, before they go to ride any big wave, they look up the conditions, like what the literally terrain is like, what's the geography, what's the maybe history, what the temperature, what the wind. They compare that to their previous experiences, their notes, and what they learned from that, right? They might look up some information, all of that to, again, help their brain to make fast decisions a lot better, having that information in place so that the outcome is as positive as it possibly can be. Don't underestimate it, right? When you know the terrain, again, you feel a lot like home, you feel a lot calmer, and also the brain can adjust so much better when it knows what to expect. So mapping the terrain is another high performance psychology and high performance sort of technique that allows high performers, people who deliver great results and use as much of their potential as possible in high stakes situations. That is what they consistently do. And that's also any high performer would do, of course, before that. Okay, let me walk the stage, let me try the instrument, let me try my mic, all of this, which sometimes as a newbie, you might not think about, like, I'm just going to focus on my presentation, I'm going to deliver it. No, walking the road that you're going to run on is actually very, very helpful for your brain to make better decisions and stay calm under pressure. And then the fifth, but definitely not last, I would say it's the foundational. And the reason why I bring it last, because I want you to remember it a lot better. And that's what also Matt Bromley swears by, what allows him to deliver his best performance almost every time he goes to ride those waves. And the most important thing is the switch that you do in your mind. And the same switch that, according to Matt and from my experience, allows you to go from just existing and staying in your comfort zone to growing and leaning in to challenges that allow you to unlock and test and develop more and more of your potential. So what is the switch? The switch from threat to challenge in your psychology and in your brain. The switch from in Matt's words, what if I die? What if I can't? What if it goes wrong? To, this is the opportunity of a lifetime to do my best, to explore my limits, to unlock my next level. From hiding to leaning in. From avoiding to looking forward to it. Psychology has a name for it, the switch from threat, stress response, I don't have the capacity to handle this, to challenge, stress response. I am capable of figuring this out, and I can't wait to give it my best. Which one is active, threat response or challenge response, determines everything, guys. Threat response narrows you, even your biology, like your blood circulation goes out of your brain and towards your limb, towards sort of your core center so you don't bleed to death. Your blood pressure goes up, your cortisol go up, your blood sugar. And what happens is you're not at your best. You are reacting, responding really fast to just keep you alive. And it's never the place where you unlock more of your potential. It's the place of survival, staying comfortable, staying where you are. Challenge response. And again, in psychology and in research, in the high performance psychology and just in the stress research, researchers, scientists separate those two responses. And it was quite recent that they realized that stress is not all the same. We have different responses to stress, and one is actually quite beneficial, this challenge response, and one, the threat response, might also be beneficial depending on the situation you are in, but it's definitely not the one that's going to unlock and help you use more of your potential. So challenge response, it opens you up It sharpens your senses and synchronizes your biology, your psychology. It puts you into a peak potential. It's the leaning in, the approach towards challenge state. And what determines which stress response you get is what Matt discovered and high performance psychology confirms: what you tell yourself and how you frame the challenge ahead or the stress ahead in your mind. Some of the things that Matt consistently tells himself when he starts fearing and feeling this anxiety about the upcoming experience that can interrupt his best performance. So one of Matt's go-to lines that he learned really work for him: I am a storm rider. I was born for this. This is the opportunity to unlock my potential and fulfill my purpose. You can almost feel the energy in this phrase. I'm a storm rider. I was born for this. This is the opportunity to unlock my potential and fulfill my purpose. You almost feel the drive, the charge, the desire to get out there and ride that thing, right? And that's the master switch that flips your ordinary existence in the comfort zone into your extraordinary life. And the choice, again, is yours. And the question is, have you learned how to flip that switch yet? I'm going to finish up. Well, we're going to recap the whole episode, but I want to first share with you Matt's favorite quote that he believes he's there to show off and to deliver and share with all of us through his life, through his craft of riding those big waves. So the quote: our big moments of purpose lie on the other side of our fear. And what Matt learned, and I also learned myself and through with my clients, is that to get to that other side of your fear, you need to really master this master switch, helping you to get from, I have to do this, it's a threat, to I get to do this, leaning into the most challenging but also expanding moments that help you to figure out, to experience what you are capable of on the edge of your potential, to then lean into that, grow it, and keep moving forward on your journey of self-awareness, self-growth, and self-development. Our big moments of purpose lie on the other side of our fear. And to get to that other side of your fear, you need to master that switch from threat to challenge in real moments of your life and work. Guys, don't forget, please, to share this podcast episode with one other person who might not yet who haven't yet mastered this switch from threat to challenge, from I have to I get to, from being anxious and avoiding hard things to leaning into and responding and taking them on, growing through experience more and more and more into the person who they were destined to be all along. Yes, so please share this podcast episode. Let's help each other grow and lean into challenges that unlock more of our potential. And before I go, as usual, the recap: 5-step or 5-pillar framework for doing your best under pressure and leaning into the challenge without feeling incapacitated by your own anxieties and worries. So number 1, prep. Train the skills, the subskills to automaticity that allow big things happen without overwhelming you. Simulate the challenge. Training in the pool or in front of your camera is nice, but getting out there on the ocean and in front of other people speaking, that's where your mastery will really start moving forward. Breathwork. You got to control your biology before you can control your mind. So practice tools like breathwork, like exposing yourself to stressor through cold plunges and similar experiences, to then being able to, even in the most stressful situations, be in control of your mind instead of it controlling you. Mapping the terrain, number 4, walk the walk before you have to run on it or ride it. It helps your brain to make better decisions when you actually start running or driving it. Map the terrain. Don't go cold into unfamiliar territory, or at least do your research. And then use the switch from if I die, what if I die? What if I can't? What if something goes wrong? To this is the opportunity of my life to be my best, to test and explore my limits, and to unlock my next level, right? Our big moments of purpose lie on the other side of your fear. And to get to that other side, you need to learn how to control that switch. So have you learned how to flip your switch yet? Thank you guys for tuning in. Thank you for listening. Appreciate you a lot. If you have any questions, need any help, feel free to reach out. info@yourbestculture.com or Angela Brain Body Coach, Angela Brain Body Coach, all one word, on Instagram. And till next time, guys, keep growing. And the most important thing, keep leaning into the challenge that you definitely can take on.